So I'm Jean-Vincent Drean, I'm from XWiki, which is a company based in Paris. I'm going to talk about XWiki Cloud, our software as a service product. XWiki, the company, we're a company created in 2004. We are currently 30 employees in 4 countries. And we do the usual activities of an open source software editor, like support, hosting, training, and also a lot of custom developments for customers wanting to have special stuff. They always want some special stuff. But it's also an open source project which has been created 1 year earlier than the company by someone called Ludwig Dubost. And today we have 19 active committers and a lot of downloads per year. We don't have that much active users, but still we have quite a bunch of users. It's a Java application, well, mostly Java, and we're approaching the 1 million lines of code. It's starting to be a quite big project. XWiki is a wiki. I think most of you have used one in the past. It's a simple wiki like this with, text content and special macros that you can edit by just clicking on a button. But it's also, it's halfway between a wiki and a CMS. You can create forums, special types of pages. Sometimes you don't want just an empty page. You want to create a page that describes, let's say, a bike, which has a type, a size, some information about the weight, well, anything. So you can create structures and augment your wiki pages with more information. On top of that, we have the ability to script within pages to create dynamic tables, allowing to filter and display a lot of those pages. So it's been designed from the beginning as a multi-tenant software. Multiple applications can be hosted on a single application server, such as Tomcat. And in 2005, we started to have this free service allowing to create XWiki instances online. And it ran for 4 years. It was mostly used for demos and trials, not exactly by professionals, but it was a great way to test it. And in 2009, we had 10,000 users, well, wikis, created on a single server. 1 Apache, 1 Tomcat, and 1 MySQL, and that's it. So of course, the performance was not really good, and we decided to start to work on something more scalable. And this year, we've started the service, which is XWiki Cloud, which is a mix between free and paying subscriptions. Today, we have almost 1,000 wikis created on it, and it's still the XWiki project, which is running, so it's open source. And it's the cloud version of the open source software. You can use it online and then just get your data and use it on-premise on your servers. So how is it working today? We have this front website, which is XWiki.com, where you have forums, and you can just go there and sign up and say, I'm Jean-Vincent, and I want to create a wiki. I want my wiki to be called like this. And then it goes to a farm of servers, well, of virtual machines. Side note, never ask developers to choose the naming of the virtual machines. This was a very bad idea. I regret it every day. So the controller just sends an event and say, I have a wiki to create, and then those nice clouds just get the events and say, well, I will take this one and create it, and then I will inform the DNS server. And it's quite simple. It's just get the event, create the wiki, and then just say to the DNS, well, this one, this domain, it's this IP. Well, it's simple. When it's done and working, it's very simple. So how do we do that today? How do we provision the VMs? Since we can host, let's say, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of applications on the same VM, we do it manually today. We have servers at OVH, and we use Debian and vServer. Like, let's say every month we have to create a bunch of new VMs, but that's it for the moment. We don't need automation. So that's what we do with Debootstrap, and just a bit of configuration. We start the VMs, and that's it. But there is another advantage of the cloud. What it means for us is that we have this application running online, and we can be sure that, as opposed to users who uses XWiki on premises, this time we know they are online. So we can say, hey, if you want statistics about the usage of your application, just use Google Analytics. I mean, you are online for sure. You can take advantage of other online services. So this is quite old. I mean, we were using external services online for quite some time, but now we have those new kind of services integration, which are aggregation. App stores like Google Marketplace or CloudBees, or there are quite a few for the moment. Those, the promise of those aggregators is we will offer a dashboard with multiple applications running, we don't know where on the internet, but we'll gather them and provide the user with a unified experience. Which means that from this marketplace, the user will provision a new application. He will have his identity that he won't have to duplicate. He will be able to log in on any service without noticing it with a single sign-on. And he will be billed, if he is a paying customer, only one time by the provider, the aggregator, like Marketplace. What we did for XWiki Cloud, we partnered with CloudBees. CloudBees is a startup providing cloud for developers. You basically code anything on your computer, push the code online, then this code is sent to continuous integration to be built, then pushed to Tomcat somewhere on the internet for development, and then you click on a button saying, this code on the dev platform is running, it's good, let's push it to production. So they try to put everything except code editing in the cloud. But they needed a service for documentation, because of course you need a wiki when you're doing this kind of stuff. And that's what we provided. What we had to write is a manifest describing our service. This is actually almost the whole manifest for XWiki. So it's not really big. You just provide an ID for your service, the name of your service, then some billing information. You can have free plans saying, well, the price is 0, but you can also have paying plans. And then a few information about, well, very technical, keys for authentications and stuff like this. And then when someone comes to CloudBees and say, I want a wiki for my software development project, what we receive is this. It's those 7 lines with the name of the CloudBees account, which will be the unique identifier of the user. And then the plan he wants to subscribe, free, 10 users, 25 users. And a few information, like, of course, the subdomain he wants to be able to access his wiki, the name of his wiki, and the language he wants the interface in. And the wiki will be created. Then we just, in the callback, we just provide the URL of the wiki we just created, like mywiki.cloud.anything.com. And now we have the authentication. We have several ways to do it. CloudBees decided to base his authenticator on OpenID, but it's not pure OpenID, it's customized. And that's what we implemented. So if anyone here already did OpenID authentication, well, it's quite classic. We have the user trying to access his wiki. We at XWiki, we just call CloudBees saying, hey, can you ask the guy to authenticate? The guy provides his credentials. Then CloudBees calls us again with the user and the group and some encryption keys so that we can be sure we can trust the authentication token. Then we have to call another service to be sure that this wiki is owned by the group the user is in. And now we can say, please log in. So today we run I'd say a dozen of virtual machines to host this service. We are not using an infrastructure as a service because where we are 30 people, it would be an investment to invest in some platform. Of course, Amazon would have been the first choice. It's fairly obvious, but there would have been this lock-in we don't want to. We're proud of doing open source plus open cloud, so it would be a bit weird to go to Amazon to host our services. And we cannot just think about the infrastructure as a service, because if we did that, like go to Amazon, we would have had the problem of VMs being destroyed without the data persisted. And since we run our databases, it would have been a problem to lose the database every time. So we would have had to use the storage of Amazon. So we're not, well, it would have been platform as a service for us. Anyway. And since we do open source, a lot of people install our software. We are not, we cannot just say, well, for the storage of XWiki, since we have to rewrite the storage for cloud, let's say we go with S3 and beanstalk and stuff like this. We can't do this because we would have to say our open source users, well, you cannot just run it anymore, since we decided to go full cloud and we have rewritten the storage to use Amazon services. We can't just do that. So we will have anyway to write two versions, one for the cloud and one for the people using it as open source. And we can't do that, well, having to write it two times is already a really big burden. It's a lot of money. We can't just say, let's do it for Amazon and this other provider and this other one, plus the open source community, plus we can't do it. So that's why we are involved in Compatible One project, because we need a solution. Even, well, we might have to write two different storages. Two is okay, but two is already enough. We can't just write it for a lot of providers. That's it.